This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason Glick, what's going on?
Hey, John, it's going all right. And hey, you know what? It's time to wrap up another long-running run run on a Marvel series. This time, Venom by Donny Cates. It's like because he's done some great stuff on this series to the point where I've never actually read a Venom series before this, but that he changed that. But you know who has read lots of Venom comics before I have?
Mm, I don't know. Give me a hint.
That'd be our special guest. Hey, Myron, glad to have you back.
What's up, Jason? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. You doing all right?
Oh, doing great, man. Just got through a long work week, ready to relax and chill, and ready to have a conversation with you guys regarding this excellent series.
Cool. Yeah, because I know Venom's been a big deal for a very long time, ever since made his introduction way back in Amazing Spider-Man 300, like drawn by Todd McFarlane. He was an instant hit as far as big new villains go. In fact, he got so popular that he basically followed the same route that all villains do when they get that popular, that he basically became a hero or an anti-hero, like the lethal protector of the innocents, such as it was, right?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of weird to think that we see that with like Harley Quinn now, and we see this with Venom. Like, I remember that first introduction of Venom being like Spider-Man's most like deadliest foe. Like, he's immune to his spider sense, and knows his abilities, and is a real threat to Peter Parker in his life, and it's none other than Eddie Brock, a man who hates him personally as well. And so, Venom was introduced as this like kind of really not necessarily demonic, but just like this really scary, visceral villain. And then as time progressed, as you said, I mean, the character was so popular, and Todd McFarlane is, he was and still is like, one of the hottest, legendary artists within the comic book industry. Like, he really gave this character a life of his own. And as time progressed, we got the Lethal Protectors series, and Venom kind of morphed into this anti-hero. And then now the vibes that I'm getting now is like he's full blown hero. We've seen Eddie Brock and Venom really grow as a character.
Yeah, hasn't always been Eddie Brock though, because there was that time when when he died of cancer, and he gave the Venom symbiote wound up attached to Mac Gargan, the Scorpion, and
Yep.
then it was attached to Flash Thompson, who's also had his own Venom series for a while, and
Yeah.
and
And
then oh no, it's like, and then eventually Brock came back, he got the Venom symbiote back, and Thompson became anti Venom, and then he died. So
Yep. And I did like I don't know, there was something different about Flash Thompson's Venom design that I like, like that kind of commando Venom.
mhm.
And I did forget to like Matt Gargan had the symbiote for a while too. So it's been an interesting it's been an interesting ride for the Venom symbiote.
Yeah, it's like there've been like lots of like major changes, retcons as writers, different writers and artists tried to make like the series like relevant for the present day, and that kind of all brings us to one Mister Donny Cates, who hit it big at Marvel, like with Thanos Wins. It's like, and also did some great work on Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's like in this fill-in run of Doctor Strange. It's like he's right now he's Marvel's golden boy, but with Venom, like this was his first major ongoing series at Marvel, and he made some pretty big changes to the character, like starting from the first volume. But with the first volume though, it's like he basically like introduces us to Eddie Brock at his lowest, just like living in a rundown hovel. I'm still hustling like for for photographs that he can sell to a newspaper, and also like taking pills to quiet his symbiote, or his other, as he refers to it, because like apparently it's been freaking out on him and just giving him nightmares, because apparently like the symbiote has been on Earth for the symbiotes have a history on Earth like much longer than we initially learned, and apparently like this history is coming back again as we find out that the god of symbiotes, Null, is coming, and that was the story that was kicked off in this very first volume. Yeah, which also I will admit that like it has featured some nice art from Ryan Stegman. It's like who was like illustrated like most but not all of this like of the comics we're going to be talking about here. But I know that you were big into his style, right?
Oh yeah, like Ryan Stegman is probably one of my favorite current day artists. Like not to jump ahead, but looking and reading through Absolute Carnage and King in Black, like especially when he does his Spider-Man panels and big page scenes, I do see a little bit of like a reflection of Todd McFarlane, so to speak, and I say this in his posing, in his web slinging, and like the dynamic bends that Spider-Man will do when he's thwipping through the air. And Venom even kind of had that old school design with like not necessarily like the open jaw gnashing teeth, but that kind of like devious grin that Todd used to draw in the initial earlier issues of Amazing Spider-Man. Like I saw that reflection there, and it harkened back to me like how pivotal that character was to the Marvel universe in his introduction in the late 80s, early 90s. Like Ryan Stegman is a phenomenal artist, and man, some of these panels like that I came across through reading these issues, like man, they just really stuck out to me, and I hope that he sticks with the company and does more projects. But yeah, great artwork, phenomenal.
Okay, yeah, I will say that what I've heard though is like he may not be sticking with Marvel, but he apparently is going to be sticking with Donny Cates, because well, now that he's like pretty much like illustrated two like big ass like event series, well he's kind of reached like the pinnacle of what you can do at Marvel. So now it's time to like go off on your own venture and get some of that creator-owned money that he so richly deserves.
And I could totally understand that, because you can kind of tell like this is a writer artist team that really works well together.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree with you there. It's like, but one thing I do want to say about the series that I noticed when I was rereading it is that well, it's like Cates takes like an interesting but welcome approach when he's working with Brock's character over the course of these let's see 8 volumes. Let's see 6 proper volumes of the series, along with Absolute Carnage and King in Black. So they're event series, but they're still key parts like of the Venom storyline. But basically, like Cates basically brings us in with Brock at his lowest level, like alone. It's like on the outs from his symbiote. It's like, and basically every like volume after that is basically him finding a way to build Brock, Eddie Brock back into being a human being in a good place. It's like after he managed to take out the like Null's dragon in the first volume, well, second volume brings in a major addition to his mythos, and the fact we get to meet Dylan Brock, who initially he's introduced as Eddie's like younger brother who's like living with his abusive dad. Then we find out that he's actually Eddie's son, that his ex-wife Anne Weying dropped off at his dad because she didn't know where else to turn. And then with Absolute Carnage, I mean, a lot of stuff happens there, but that's when Eddie finally comes out to Dylan accidentally, like saying that we basically tells Carnage like, "Yeah, away from my son." It's like, so I'm your son? It's like, yeah, it's like but also this brings Eddie into contact with not just Spider-Man again, but also with a lot of other Marvel heroes like Captain America, Wolverine, the Thing, and it's like and the Hulk, as they're trying to fight off Carnage. And then the following arc, it's like with Venom Island, basically starts off with Eddie getting like a nice pep talk from Captain America saying, "Hey, good work out there, soldier." He's like, "You ever?" Like, I mean, even though he kind of offers him the chance to join the Avengers, but he turns it down because Eddie has some issues to work out here because he's just reabsorbed the Carnage symbiote at the end of the arc, and now he's got to find a way to purge it in a way that doesn't get him killed. And a lot of this arc, well, the idea of like Predator, but with symbiotes is a lot of fun. It is the kind of story that could have been solved, like if Eddie had just basically been upfront and honest with the Avengers at the start of the story. But at the end, though, it's like it sees him coming clean with them to tell them that it's like Null is coming, so we got to prepare. So it's bringing him closer into the superhero community. It's like, well, also like starting to patch things up with Dylan, like who's also trying to figure out just what his connection to Null and what these strange powers he has is. And that brings us to Venom Beyond, 5th volume, which is basically like a really good what if story on 2 counts, because it basically involves Eddie trying to talk to the Maker, the evil version of Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe, to get some answers about what's going on with Dylan and his powers. And well, the Maker is basically like preparing to return to his universe. Things go crazy, and this new enemy, Virus, who's working with all sorts of repurposed Iron Man and Goblin tech that he got off a scrap heap. It's like is coming at Venom with this huge mad on it. She screws up the like the dimensional transport thing, and Eddie, Dylan, and and Virus all find themselves in this really dark universe where everyone's been like attached to a symbiote, courtesy of this villain named Codex. And turns out the person who's wearing the Venom symbiote in this world, that'd be Eddie's ex-wife, Anne. That's because this is a what if story that basically asks what happens if when Eddie went into that church when he prepared to kill himself, and he wound up getting the Venom symbiote instead. What if he actually just killed himself that time? And then from there, it also asks, well, what if instead of choosing to save Dylan at the end of Absolute Carnage, what if the choice is made to try and stop Null from being awakened? Which basically, let's just say that Dylan has a very bad time of it, but it's a good what if story that actually ends like in a nice happy place. Well, up until the point where it has to function as a lead in to King in Black, but it's not. But compared to a lot of other runs where basically it starts off with we're building up the character, and then oh no, crisis. It's right before the end, but now our hero's got to get his shit back together, and in order to triumph against the bad guy in the last arc or two. Cates has done a good job slowly building Eddie's character to be in a better, more positive place. I mean, yeah, there's some really dark stuff that comes across as he's trying to get to that point, but I just like the but rereading this is it's made me realize that he's had a much more overall positive vibe as the series goes on, which is something to say. We were talking about doing the series about a symbiote who has lots of rage issues and also tends to kill and or eat the bad guys. Well, it's when they piss him off too much. So there's that. But that kind of brings us to King in Black. Do you have anything else to say about the previous all the Venom stuff leading up to this point, Myron?
Nothing additional in this except for you just brought up a point with Venom Island. I forgot another artist heavily involved with Venom for many years. One of my favorites is Mark Bagley. I grew up with his artwork during the age of Amazing Spider-Man, the Maximum Carnage saga, Ultimate Spider-Man, and to see him to see a veteran involved with this series as well and continue drawing this character, it just brought back old school vibes for me. But I like what you broke down here and explaining how Venom is progressing this new series with by Donny Cates, because I mean, throughout the many iterations of Venom, I mean, we kind of see that Eddie Brock, who shares this symbiotic relationship with the symbiote, we see him at his lowest, and we see him kind of hit rock bottom only to be built back up. And the pep talk from Cap, and coming into terms of like, of what he needs to do. Like, I feel that from reading The King in Black, we really see that heroic attitude and that heroic persona come out in Eddie Brock. But I'll let you lead into it. But yeah, King in Black, really great storyline.
Yeah, and also I want to like say you're absolutely right about Bagley's work here. I think he's one of the all-time great Spider-Man artists. It's like I always like seeing his work here, but I do think there's like that that the coloring and inking on like for his art on Venom Island was like really great fit. I mean, like usually it's like I'm used to seeing his art look really bright and colorful, but it still looks great even when it's like given like the gritty, like the grim and gritty treatment here, like here in Venom. So
for sure.
So like good, yeah. So great call right there. But as for the King in Black, well, it's basically event series time. So that means it's hey, we're dealing with like a massive world-ending threat here in the form of Null, who has finally made it to Earth. It's like, and he's going to kill the world because he's just got so much beef with its heroes. Like Thor apparently gave him cause helped kick his ass a bit back in the day. Like he had to run in like an untoo-pleasant run-in with the Silver Surfer back in Silver Surfer Black, and well, it's like, but also he really wants Dylan. It's like Dylan Brock, and like in his powers, because he feels that he can basically use them to extend his dominion over over darkness in the universe, because like he's basically the god of darkness, and he's just like determined to end all light in the universe. And well, and he needs Dylan's powers in order to do that. So basically, like the series, it's like can't really get into specifics here because this does follow like a standard your standard back and forth of these arcs. Actually, it's like it does it better than most event series, because usually it's like a lot of event series fall into the trouble of like the heroes just like getting kind of failing with everything they do. It's like, and just kind of struggle. It's like until the last issue when hey, things finally start going their way and they vanquish the the villain in the end. King in Black is actually a lot thinner compared to other event series, including Absolute Carnage. But I don't think that's a problem here, as it basically as Cates and Stegman, who returns to illustrate this, it's like do a good job of just like setting out the stakes, like facing the heroes and Null's abilities, but it also does a good job of implying like a sense of struggle over the course of the series, because this first issue alone has some impressive fights with the Avengers. They're the first line of defense, but hey, then to my surprise, the X-Men got their asses off Krakoa to help out in this fight, which is kind of surprising since the X-Men they've been doing their own thing to a good extent, I think, but it's still cool to see them interact here, and also for Storm to at least get some decent scenes. It's as being as lightning is one of the few things that actually causes Null to wince. But then you get stuff like when you find out that the Null has also absorbed the Celestials. It's and that's bad. But then wait, we've got the heroes have the Sentry on their side, and well, that lasts for all of 2 pages. So, but there's this big old back and forth. It's as the series goes on, because the heroes keep finding more things to bring to the battle. It's like Namor, and he's got the armies of the deep to call on. Blade goes to Chernobyl to enlist Dracula's help. It's like stuff like that. It's they keep bringing in. Oh, and the Kingpin even starts recruiting the villains of New York to try and get and try and stop Null. Oh, and Iron Man even breaks out the Extremis solution to assimilate a dragon. It's that's like I said, it just keeps going like that. I mean, it doesn't feel like the bad guys are completely dominating over the course of the series up to say the end, and I really like that because there's still more. Like I'm only call it just describe stuff that goes up to issue 2. There's some much more big stuff that comes on as the series goes on, because you get one of because Cates brings in a couple more of his favorite characters to bring the thunder, for lack of a better term, but we also get to see Dylan flex his powers as well. And also, in probably one of my favorite bits in the series, we kind of find out about the god of light, because hey, there's a god of darkness, and obvious stands reason to be his opposite here. And it's also it's both a huge retcon, but it's also something that makes this really weird and random bit of Marvel history, something that would pop up whenever creators wanted to bring in a being of absolute power. Well, they just bring in this thing, but this thing has a proper role and proper explanation, and it doesn't. And Cates manages to pull this off without negating any of the history of this particular thing. In fact, he does a good job of that over the course of the series. I particularly liked how he how he took Bendis's description of the symbiote race as being they're called the Clintar, which okay, sure, it's you give them a name and all, but then Cates retcons and saying that Clintar in their language means cage, because the planet of the symbiotes was one big cage around Null back in the day. But like I said, I like his use of continuity here, and even if you're unfamiliar with some of the stuff he's working with here, he does a good job of pulling in familiar stuff in a way that makes sense. And ultimately, it's I did like this, even though I think that the it is just kind of a big old superhero fight scene, just lots of characters punching each other. And Stegman makes this stuff look good. That's for damn sure. But as far as the emotional content of this series, Cates plays up Eddie and Dylan's relationship in the beginning, but towards the end, it's just kind of it doesn't quite hit at the end for reasons. But I want to have more to say about that. But Myron, it's what do you think about the King in Black itself?
First of all, I want to say, like Aquaman, nobody gives a shit about Namor, but he's there.
Oh
no, that's just a character. I was just kind of eh. But I agree with you. I do feel this was kind of on the frivolous side of a lot of action and just punches and fights, but I loved it. I have to say I got hooked when the issues released. I read issues 1 and 2 and just kind of fell off until the remainder of the issues came out. I reread everything, and I have to say this might sound corny, but this was a cinematic read. Based off of what you said, Ryan Stegman's artwork just really pops and then really makes this look good. The whole time, each page that I flipped through, I almost envisioned it as an MCU movie, as corny as that sounds. We see Avengers Endgame and before that Infinity War, that big universal bad that comes to threaten the earth, and all of our Earth's mightiest heroes get together to fight off this threat. That's the same type of vibes that I got from reading through this storyline. I think Null is an excellent villain. Being introduced to him early on in the Venom comic book, I thought it was an interesting concept that there was a god who created the symbiotes, and that's where Venom's origins lie. And it's interesting how everything all came together in this entire run, that it would be a final showdown between this god of darkness versus what eventually who would become the King in Black. And so I really love this storyline. I thought that the Thor's introduction and that fight scene was so cinematic, just and how visceral a lot of the scenes were, where Thor clobbered Null's jaw off, or like how
That was pretty
Null,
damn impressive.
that was crazy, and like how like while Thor wasn't looking, like Null like impaled him. And again, there was a scene where Reed Richards kind of laid out the game plan of what they were going to do, involving Dylan's involvement in fighting off, and Peter Parker, Spider-Man, leading the charge, like, let's go team. That is an example that I'm talking about with Ryan Stegman's artwork, where I just feel like Spidey popping off the page and leading that charge, and the artwork was just beautiful, and everything that you described. Null was obviously a real threat, in which he was able to possess Celestials, and they needed all hands on deck in order to ward off this threat. And it took the Silver Surfer bringing the Enigma Force down to Earth, that Eddie Brock would eventually be fused and become that Captain Universe, and merge Mjolnir, which surprised me. He was able to call Mjolnir and Silver Surfer's
So
board.
you're determined to give away every surprise in this series, aren't you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I really nerdgasmed at this. Like, I'm like, oh man, like,
for good reason. Like, I mean, I'm not saying like it's unwarranted. It's just
yeah. Fast forward a little bit. Spoilers, kids. I'm sorry, but just seeing that and the shape that it made after the fact, I was like, oh, dude, like, I want an action figure of this. I would love like a poster of the scenes where he's striking. It was an awesome read. Like, I was thoroughly, and I liked Absolute Carnage. I really loved Absolute Carnage, but man, like, the culmination of everything that this recent run of Venom came to be, like, I was thoroughly entertained, and that's all I got. And that's all I got to say about that.
Gotcha. Well, it's like I got some more stuff to say, because there's also the tie-in issues from Venom to the King in Black, and I will say that for the most part, it's like they're not like essential reads to the it's like to the main series itself, because it basically kind of like these tie-in issues from Venom appropriately focus on what Eddie Brock was going through at it's like during the event series, because, well, he is indisposed for long stretches of it, for reasons that will be obvious like when you read the series, but basically it kind of has him like leading like an attack on Null from an unknown from an unexpected direction, but it also allows Cates to bring back Rex from the first arc, and also like Flash Thompson as well. So it's like these tie-in issues to the event. They give him like a decent, like Brock some decent stuff to do, but I wouldn't say that they're like absolutely essential. Like I will say that there is a moment at the end of issue 34, the final tie-in, that basically kind of like let's say it's key to a certain character from this arc, because it just shows you that that, hey, it's like his story hasn't ended here, and he's going to be coming back for future stuff. Now, but however, it's like you still people who've read The King in Black still need to buy this, at least, or at the very least, you need to buy issue 35, which doubles as issue 200, which is the real finale to Cates' run, and basically kind of like wraps up the like the whole King in Black stuff in a nice way, because the final page just kind of lays you a major change in Eddie Brock's status quo, and this final issue basically shows you, okay, well, what does that actually mean? And it's kind of impressive. It's like kind of tragic as well, because Eddie Brock is finally in a better place, like a place of cosmic importance, actually, and he's also finally really able to start living like these words that he's been saying over the course of the series, like we're always stronger when we're together. It's like this, and but it also has him like doing his best to give Dylan a normal life, free of the baggage of being, the son of Eddie Brock. So, and that it's like, and that I think that's cool. That's cool right there. But there's also a fair amount of focus as to Dylan, what the future has for Dylan in this, like in the Marvel universe as well. And well, there's a big change right there that I really don't want to get into, because well, it's like if you've heard about the new Venom series, you probably already know where like what it is, but Dylan's going to be sticking around, and my main regret here is that I kind of wish that Cates would be sticking around too, because it's one of those. This is one of those situations where he's made like a huge fundamental change to a certain character, but he's going to leave like the actual work of like developing this change to a subsequent writer. In this case, that would be co-writers Al Ewing and Ram V, who are working on the new Venom series along with Brian Hitch, which I gotta admit, it's like I'm there because like anything Ewing does, it's like I'm on board for. If I were a betting man, I would say that we'll see him depart the series. It's like sooner rather than later to leave Ram V as the new head writer, because V is making name for himself with his work on Catwoman and Justice League Dark at DC, and he's also got like his own like horror tinged bent like for his creator-owned projects at Image. So I'm guessing that like they're probably gonna he's probably gonna be like the new lead writer on Venom, unless he and Ewing are total bros now, join at the hip for the idea of writing Venom. I doubt it, but hey, it could happen.
Now, do you know who the artists assigned to this new series?
Oh yeah, Brian Hitch is going to be the artist, and Hitch is a fantastic artist. He does like epic stuff better than a lot of other artists I've seen over the years. Particularly, he was like the original artist on the Ultimates, to give you some point of reference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like I think Venom is in good hands, even though Hitch has had a reputation for like blowing through deadlines in the past, but he's been a lot better about that. It's like in recent years, though I imagine he's probably only going to be on board for the first 12 issues, and then we'll get someone else taking on things after that.
Well, we can always rely on Mark Bagley to come in clutch moments.
Hell yeah! Oh, he's in issue 200 as well.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so I picked up. I got multiple variant covers of issue 200. I need to hop on that sometime this weekend too and finish that up. But yeah, I ran through like 3 issues last night on King of Black, and I was thoroughly impressed. And my earlier statement, wishing that Ryan Stegman would stay on and possibly do other Marvel projects. I thought his artwork for the X-Men was like super phenomenal. Like I love RB Silva, and correct me if I mispronounce his name, but is it Pepe Larraz? Pepe Larraz. Like I love their artwork on the X-Men and what they've done with the franchise. But man, like Ryan Stegman, as I said earlier, like he's up there for me, like with like Greg Capullo and J. Scott Campbell, just to name like a couple of like my all-time top favorite artists. Like this guy really impressed to me. So yeah, I mean this was a good run for Venom.
Yeah, so as someone who was not really into the character beforehand, I gotta admit that Cates made me care about Eddie, and also made me care about a new edition about Dylan as well. So yeah, it's like kudos to Cates for making that happen. Kudos to Stegman for giving him some like impressive art along the way, and also like Bagley, and also Iban Coelho, who also did a lot of who illustrated like a good chunk of this run as well.
I like him too. Like, is he one of like what's Marvel's program? I think it's like the Stormbreakers, like the kind of new generation of artists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah. Overall, it's like I think it's like I said I think that it's like as if you've not really been into Venom before now. It's like I think that Case's run is a good place to start if you want a good example of to see the character and his appeal. It's like I said, it's 8 volumes total. Issues volumes 1 and 2, then the Absolute Carnage, 3, 4, 5, King in Black, and then 6, the tie-in issues to King in Black, plus issue 200/35, which is like the big finale. So yeah, it's like that, and yeah, that finale. It's like, yeah, it's like you really need to read that. It's like if you've only read like King in Black. It's like all the emotional stuff. It's like the wrap up to what Case is doing. It's all here, and it's all pretty great.
Sounds
Right
pretty
on.
cool. You know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Well, it's like I may need to just make a special one-time purchase like at Amazon, because I've got like there are 2 series that have just wrapped up that I want to talk about, but I don't think there's been enough stuff to that's come out for me to make a big old bulk purchase through cheapgraphicnovels.com. So it'll either be Captain America by Ta-Nehisi Coates, or 7 to Eternity by Rick Remender and Jerome Pena, or it could be something completely different. We shall see. But again, hey Myron, thanks for coming by again. It's always good to have your opinion on this and to hear your thoughts.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And thanks for having me as always. This was you lit a fire under me to say, hurry up and read this shit. So I was like, yeah hop on it. And I was thoroughly overjoyed. I liked it a lot.
Another fire. I'm glad fire brought some joy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Awesome. Well, we'll catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
All right. Laters.
Good evening.